Hello everyone and welcome to the Crumbs podcast, where we pick up the pieces
of whatever's left behind.
We still don't have an intro. It's the first episode, just cut us some slack. Basically, I'm Zara from the channel Dishwashing Liquid, and if you don't know me from that, then I honestly don't blame you. And this is Who Are You?
My name is Nora, and yeah, I'll be here just, talking nonsense.
Are you my co-host, or are we equal co-hosts?
I think equality wins.
That's sort of unfortunate, but anyways,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So today we're going to be discussing a really complicated issue, children's content on YouTube. And because this is a multifaceted issue, we're going to be breaking it down into different segments.
The segments are going to basically be, kids' toy review channels, and then we'll focus on, or we'll try to answer questions about, should YouTube be regulating channels that target children, and should TV regulations apply? Yeah, which all falls under, where does the responsibility actually fall when it comes to these issues?
So those are the questions we're going to be attempting to answer.
Yeah, and just a disclaimer before we delve into that, we want to make our point clear on screen time itself. So we do believe that I believe that screen time really stunts mental development in kids for obvious reasons. They don't truly experience the real world and don't make real connections in terms of the physical world and the way that things work. There's lots of research based on this. So yeah, we're not going to delve into screen time itself and how much screen time is appropriate, whether kids should even be watching things online. That's a podcast within itself.
So we're mainly talking about the platform.
Yeah.
So we're going under the assumption that it's a given that kids are watching this.
Yes, and we all know kids are watching YouTube, things that they shouldn't be watching. We all know that. Let's not sweep it under the rug.
I love sweeping though.
Yes. No, I don't. Where do you come from? Why?
It's just banter. It's just banter.
Yeah.
So what do we mean by kids channels?
We're talking about those channels where there's like animations and also kids unboxing things, those toy review channels. I know, what was his name?
Ryan's Toy Review?
Yes.
Let's talk about Ryan's Toy Review for a second.
Yeah.
Forbes #1 most paid YouTuber.
Wow, really?
Yes. I don't think it's actually factual, they're just assuming, but it's on Forbes, so...
Yeah, kids, apparently 20 out of the 100 top YouTube channels are toy review channels. That's insane.
That is insane.
That's some coin. And if you've been on YouTube and watched those toy review channels, they're all seem the same. They're not as creative
yeah, pretty much.
as you might think they are, considering they're targeted for kids.
Back to Ryan's Toy Review, everyone is joking about this 4-month-old child is richer than I'll ever be.
He's 7 years old.
4 months to me.
Yeah.
But basically what I'm saying is that no one is really pointing out that doesn't that seem sort of a problem that the most paid YouTuber is a literal child?
Yes, a 7-year-old making YouTube channels. Is he the one making the YouTube videos?
That's a conspiracy.
Ooh. How does he know how to edit? I can't even tie my shoes.
Yeah, I doubt he edits his videos.
I can't even tie my shoes. How is he doing this? He obviously isn't doing it on his own.
Okay, so basically before we go into each type of basically kids channel, I just want to make it clear, I think we both want to make it clear, that all these channels are obviously not bad.
Yeah.
But you'd have to be pretty naive to assume that each sort of kids channel, whatever, doesn't have their problems.
Yeah, okay, let's be fair here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that some toy review, if done properly, they can actually be good for kids because it can inspire them to
Daddy
play.
Shark is a bop. It's a bop. Do you know what a bop means?
No.
It means like a song that you like to groove to. Like, it's a good song. It's a bop.
I think there is some good in it in that it inspires play. It inspires kids to play, and it kind of opens up their imagination.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Life is but a dream. That is so sad. Who wants to sing that? I think Daddy Shark is a good song.
Yeah.
I know you hate it, but it's a
I
good
really
song.
don't like that song. I don't know how it went viral. It does my head in. It's everywhere.
I know. How did that go viral and I'm not viral? My channel link will be in the bio. Moving on. So the first type of content, you sort of touched on this a lot. It's the toy unboxing or the toy review channels.
There's usually a kids and adults too, which is a bit creepy. Unboxing numerous toys, like heaps and heaps of toys, countless toys. And our question is it realistic or healthy? Like, what is it teaching kids about toys and their value?
I feel like we're in an era of disposable toys.
Yes.
And that's not a good thing.
Yeah, especially with those surprise eggs. I mean, you eat the chocolate, you put the toy together and it's in the bin.
Exactly. And not that I'm an advocate for health or anything, but I don't think chocolate is the most healthy thing for kids.
Or mass images of toys. Yeah.
Both very unhealthy. Yeah. But back to what you were saying about disposable toys, this idea of just having this excess of toys, like especially children can't really grasp reality versus fiction.
Yeah, kids don't understand limits. Like
that's a word limit, you're right.
As kids, you just want the toy of your favorite cartoon or doll. And if you're seeing these countless numerous toys being unboxed, you're never satisfied. You know, you never have this satisfaction.
And also, you don't really appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
I know I sound like an old grandma for saying that, but like, if you have 100 toys, like, I don't know, do you get what I mean? You don't appreciate every single toy because you have 3 million of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember a time when, you know, you had 1 or 2 toys and you treasured those toys.
Yeah.
And now, like, even... Look, I'm guilty of it too, and you know, a lot of my friends too. You go to a house and they have a toy room, like a whole room just for toys. Can you imagine?
That's something I did not think about. Toy rooms are considered normal now.
Yeah, like I didn't even have my own room. Now there's a room just for toys. That's insane.
That is quite insane, I must say. So what ramifications does this have in relation to the kids?
Well, obviously it affects their attention spans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you've got those fidgety kids at school and, you know, teachers would agree. There's this constant thing going on where you've got to entertain your kids. Kids, you know, need entertainment. You've got to engage them. Look, there are things in life that you can't make extremely entertaining or fun to do. You've got to do things that are sometimes boring but important.
You can't coddle your child. Sometimes you just need to leave them alone. They need their own independent time. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And back to what you were saying about attention span, let me create some beautiful imagery. I would remember rushing back from school on a summer's evening and I'd have to wait for my favourite show.
Yes, that's
Kids,
right.
if they don't like something, they literally just click off.
Yeah, and there isn't, like, if you like Peppa Pig, then it's on YouTube and you're watching Peppa Pig 24/7. You're not watching anything else.
I tell you what's, like I said, if you don't like something, if the kids don't like something, they just click off. It's this idea of unlimited content.
Yeah.
It's literally unlimited. You click and click and click and click, and it will be a new video after new video after new video.
Yeah, that's right. It's never ending.
And I think this is a good time to get into this, but your child can be a few clicks away into watching Logan Paul in a forest, you know?
Yeah, that's right. And you could argue that there's YouTube Kids, okay, but even then, that's an issue because Logan Paul, you can access Logan Paul, or was it
Jake Paul?
Yeah, you can access Jake Paul through YouTube Kids, which is creepy.
That is very creepy.
Yeah, so even YouTube Kids isn't regulated.
How do you think that compares to the, I used to watch TV all day sort of mentality? How do you think that compares to YouTube?
Look, that's not even an argument. Content has changed. The uncertain terrain of YouTube.
Yes, YouTube is so uncertain.
Yes, when you were a kid and you were watching TV all day, you'd come home, you'd watch Play School, followed by Arthur, whatever. They're all regulated. Nothing is regulated on YouTube. Not heavily anyway.
Yeah.
It's just so unpredictable and uncertain. And you don't know what your kids could be ending up watching.
It is literally physically impossible to watch every single video before your kid watches it.
Yes.
How is that possible? How are you going to know what's in that video?
And if you're a parent, you know this. Like if your kid is, you know, bored and you hand them an iPad or an iPhone and there's a feeling of guilt, you know what that is. you know why you're feeling guilty. Like, you know, parents out there,
Yeah.
you know that feeling of, you know, guilt as you hand over the phone to your kid or the
And there's a
iPad.
reason why
Yeah.
I feel like parents feel guilty.
You know why? Because deep down, you know they're watching things that aren't exactly healthy or good for them.
Exactly. And just to relate it back to the toy unboxing and toy review sort of stuff,
Yeah.
imagine just sitting hours and hours of your kid just watching people open up toys.
Yeah.
How is that not weird? I've never seen that on TV.
Yeah, and you know what? It's actually blurring the lines between entertainment and advertising, which is like a huge concept that we'll need like 3 days to get through that. But you know, even if these videos are not sponsored, they kind of present this ridiculous amount of toys in enticing ways to kids. And we're going to delve into a bit of psychology here.
I love that, please.
Yeah, so a lot of ads actually use this, and they tap into like mimetic desire.
What does that mean?
What this means is, you know, when you're not really thinking about something, but you see someone else have it and suddenly you want it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so that's what ads do. Like, if you have kids, you know this, like there's a toy that your kid hasn't touched in 500 years and another kid comes and picks it up and suddenly it's their favorite toy. It's exactly the same thing with what happens on YouTube. You know, they see a kid playing with a toy and suddenly they want it. A lot of YouTube channels with toy reviews say, you know, we're not sponsored, we buy our own toys. No, really, it's still advertising because you're making these toys look very attractive. If you have kids, you understand this very well, okay? And what this mimetic desire does, it activates like mirror neurons and parts of the brain that controls motivation, which in turn releases dopamine, and then it makes these kids anticipate something that they actually can't get.
Oh my, that is actually so messed up.
Of course, when the nagging happens, the next time you're in the supermarket, if you don't avoid those toy sections, you'll come back with toys. For sure.
That's actually interesting because even as an adult, you sort of feel that way when you watch someone like eat on camera or they unbox something. Like you feel excited, like you're living through them. And as a child, everything is like so sort of amplified. Your feelings and your emotions.
Yeah, you don't really understand. You know, even as adults, we struggle to understand like makeup channels. Like you see someone, you know, buying countless amounts of makeup, and most of it is sent to them, by the way. Yeah. And it's free. Some do buy their own, but look, that doesn't change anything. It's still a kind of advertising, okay? And it's dangerous. We don't like it when it happens to adults. Can you imagine doing that to kids?
Just to touch on the advertising thing, how is a kid gonna know what disclosing a sponsorship is? If someone is like, this video is sponsored, how is a kid gonna understand that?
Yeah, exactly. And you're probably going, where are the parents in this scenario?
Where are the parents?
This is the real world, okay? There are some bad parents out there.
We have to sort of work as our slowest player sometimes.
Yes, okay? Not everyone out there is... There are no perfect parents, okay? And I'm not here to judge any parents, but let's be honest, okay? You may have come across some questionable parents.
Yeah.
Okay, there are some parents that don't really care what their kids are watching, where their kids are at. They're up in their room all day. Okay, no questions asked. That's not an excuse. Okay, we shouldn't go. It's up to the parent to control these things, to make sure, you know, they know what their kids are watching, because there are some parents out there that don't really care. Okay, what this tells us is, if YouTube is not willing to regulate, is, you know what, kids are not our problem. They're your problem. Okay, we can't have that kind of mentality.
Yeah, I feel like we should, it's sort of a societal thing, like it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah. That sort of thing. Like we all have to, as a community, sort of look out for children, you know?
Yeah, so YouTube can't kind of go, okay, it's the parents' responsibility to take care of their kids. No, you have this huge company, this huge platform where anyone can post anything without YouTube having any editorial hand in what they post, and you can't just sit there and go, oh, it's up to the viewer. No, you need to take that responsibility on, okay? It's because it's a right thing to do, okay? You don't have to do it, but it's a right thing to do. Like, do the right thing.
Just to play devil's advocate, what would you say to someone who's like, well, YouTube is a sovereign platform. It's really not their responsibility at the end of the day. If they want to have creepy kids videos, they can do that. What would you say to that?
Well, then that's just really messed up. I think it's everyone's responsibility to make sure that everyone does the right thing, and it's because of that mentality that we have Logan Paul and Jake Paul on YouTube. I believe in free speech, and I think that everyone has the right to create whatever they want, but look, there are boundaries, and when you cross a certain boundary, it really makes me question where humanity is heading.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate on my devil's advocate, if you're calling an app YouTube Kids, then you're taking responsibility, basically.
Yes, yeah. You can't have Jake Paul. If my kid ended up on a Jake Paul video on YouTube Kids because it's made for kids, and then I come in and they're watching Jake Paul, I would be mad.
Buy that merch. Buy that merch. It's
Buy
catchy.
that merch. Yeah,
It is catchy. I hate how catchy it is. And back to what we were saying, we're still not done with the toy unboxings. You mentioned this a bit earlier, but there are some adults who are unboxing things.
That is just pure creepiness. I think that is so creepy. I don't care who you are. Buying toys to unbox to kids, that is just... Look, I understand. Okay, I'm going to try to be fair, even though it's not in my DNA. I understand that it could be helpful for an adult to show kids how a toy actually works, because I see parents doing that. You know, this is how, especially with really young kids, this is how you play with the toy, and give them examples of how they play with it. But I don't feel comfortable with an adult that I don't know on the other side of the screen playing with a toy. They're not qualified. They're not early development
workers. What if there's like subliminal messages?
Yes, I just don't. There's something wrong.
Yeah,
it feels
messages.
wrong. It really does feel wrong. And you know, I'm sorry if you're out there and you know you're just a mom who unboxes toys and you're going, imagine if I had kids at home. You know, I'm really sorry. It doesn't feel right to me.
Can I tell you about a situation?
Yeah.
I don't think you know about this. It's obviously not as bad as like the creepy people who want to like groom kids and stuff. Oh but there was a really popular toy unboxing channel by a girl, and she used to be an adult entertainer.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously that's not bad because she's not doing adult stuff on a kid's channel.
Yeah, and I mean you've got to separate the...
Yeah.
Let's try to be fair again.
Let's talk about this. Yeah. Because so many people were pissed about that as opposed to being pissed about the possible, you know, actual creeps.
Yeah, so look, at some point we've got to separate art from the artist.
Exactly. I think that's a good example of separating art from the artist. Death to the artist. Is that what it is? Death to the artist?
No, the author. What are you talking about?
Death to the author.
Yeah. Children's entertainers, like, you know, the Wiggles. I'm sure they don't wiggle at home with their families. Like, they've got their own lives. They do their own thing, and that's nobody's business, really. That's what I believe.
Yellow Wiggle and Purple Wiggle got a divorce.
What?
I didn't even know they were married.
To each other?
Yeah.
They're married to each other?
Yeah, Emma and the purple one
are married to each other.
Were married. They got a divorce. I'm so sorry about that. But like,
this is just news to me.
Me too. I was shook when I learnt about it. The Wiggles are married. They have a life.
Lockie and Emma are married. Are you sure? Is that a rumor?
We might need to fact check that because my aunt told me that yesterday.
This is just, I mean, Emma and Lockie, who would have thought?
I kind of ship it.
No.
Well, the ship is dead because the ship drowned.
So what happens now? Who quits? Like, can they continue?
Oh, that is so awkward. Imagine working with your ex-husband on a kids show. Speaking of kids shows, what's the difference between a child entertainer and some random dude on YouTube?
What do you need to become a child entertainer? Are there qualifications?
I read this article about the play school audition process, and it's like interview after interview after interview. Plus, I'm pretty sure that there are background checks.
You could say, well, they're not actually around kids working. They don't need to working with children's check.
Access
and
to
all
children.
The things that you need, you know, to work at schools and daycares and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yes, they do have access to kids because kids can comment. They can send them messages. Do they have meetups? I don't know. I'm not a huge...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have meetups.
Yeah, so without background checks...
And let's not pretend that TV has the best people, because obviously there are some people on TV that are like trash behind the scenes. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure Mr. Maker isn't like a class A felon. Like, do you get what I mean?
Hey, don't talk about Mr. Maker.
I wasn't. I said he's not a felon.
Yes, he is not. I hope he's not.
Please don't sue us. We love you, Mr. Maker.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it could just be a random person who just got out of not that if you got out of prison, you're evil, but like you may have committed a crime.
Yeah, who's on the other side of the screen
that involves children, and you're like, YouTube is the easiest way to access kids.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know who it is.
And let me just bring up a couple of Minecraft channels. I don't want to say any names, not to be Keemstar and like accuse every single person.
We're not here to accuse anyone.
But I'm pretty sure you guys know there have been so many like YouTubers and like Minecraft YouTubers that have been exposed for like, I don't know, hitting up children.
What? Is this true? I have no idea about the gaming world. I know it's huge on YouTube, the gaming world.
Yeah. If you know who Colossal is Crazy is, he done an interview with one of these Minecraft YouTube channels, then you know exactly who I'm talking about. I don't want to say names because, to be honest, I don't want a lawsuit. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's been exposed before. Like, this has happened before, that there are channels out there who are like confirmed creeps, confirmed predators, confirmed child predators.
Yeah, and you don't hear about those things because why don't you hear about those things? Why don't we know about these? People just don't do their research, or they don't.
What do you mean we don't know about these things?
Like, we don't know what goes on. The majority of people don't know what happens on YouTube.
Oh, I get what you mean.
Do you get me? Like, unless you're into that, you know, YouTube drama thing.
Yeah,
like, you don't actually know. But really, if you're watching YouTube and if your kids are watching YouTube, or your niece or whatever kid you know, you do want to be informed.
Yeah, you have to be at least aware.
Yeah,
I think awareness is the first step, like recognizing that, yeah, there is a problem. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, and making sure, and we're not saying YouTube is bad or kids shouldn't be watching YouTube. No, there are some fantastic channels out there that teach kids how to count and, are quite educational. What we're saying is, do we really know what they're watching? Sorry
to keep on going back to the unboxing thing, because that's what we're currently talking about. But if we look at child actors, for example, I'm pretty sure there are regulations, like how many hours can child actors work?
Yeah,
Was it 8 hours? Which is a lot.
Yeah.
We already know about Hollywood and stuff, and they abuse kids and stuff.
Do they?
Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are heaps of stories where kids are like...
overworked, forced labor.
Forced labor and overworked.
Like, Hollywood, take me on. Force me to work, I do not mind.
But imagine on YouTube where the parent is their employer.
Yeah.
And home is the kids' work. That is so weird.
And you know what? I was trying to be good and do my research on this. And there are 1 hour long kids videos with kids playing toys.
For an hour.
An hour. And this isn't a kid.
Is it edited?
Yes. And
oh my god.
And I'm sitting there thinking, an hour of content of kids playing with toys. Like, if you're considering like the editing,
that can't be healthy, having your employer as well. It's not healthy, period, for a kid to be working.
Yeah.
But like your parent telling you, okay.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to what extent are you willing to go for views and money.
And speaking of what extent, if it's okay if you haven't heard about this, I'm pretty sure lots of people know about this. Do you know who Daddy05 is?
Would you explain to us, please?
Okay, so Daddy05 was this YouTuber. It was this family YouTube channel, which we're going to delve into family YouTube channels like in another segment, in another episode, whatever these things are called. But just to like touch on this, Daddy05 literally filmed himself abusing his kids. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, he would prank these kids. He would prank his own kids. Like, do I need to go into any more detail?
And kids are not as resilient as people think they are. They're extremely sensitive and they do need love and nurture.
Exactly.
They do. You can't go past that. You can't go, oh, it's his dad. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the mother who gave birth to your child, okay? There's a way and a certain respect that you need for kids.
Yeah.
For every child.
No one, I've never heard someone defend Daddy05. He's like basically an abuser. His kids got taken away from him, 2 of them.
My God.
Isn't
that sad?
Like I said, we'll go into more detail about Daddy05 in another sort of segment, but I just wanted to bring that up, that there are people who abuse their kids for content. You see like adult YouTubers who sit on camera and they have emotional breakdowns because it's getting too tough. What about kids? Like,
Yeah,
imagine your mom
I
coming
don't
in your
even
room,
want to think about
turns on
that.
the camera, and it's like, come on, it's showtime.
It's work time, yeah. I know, like, when kids want to play, sometimes they just want to be left alone. I don't know about that. That is so messed up. Oh, and you know what's even more messed up?
Yeah.
Those skits involving, like, prevalent characters like Spider-Man and Elsa.
Oh my, do not get me started on that.
Yeah.
That's
That's a huge issue. Like,
is-
we're laughing, but it ain't funny.
I'm laughing because I remember this specific video, so I have to talk about
So
it.
do I.
Sorry.
There's always certain videos that come to mind, and they haunt my dreams.
It's terrible. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. But think about it this way. A kid is watching this. I watched a video. Listen. I watched a video where it was Elsa and Spider-Man, of course, because who else would it be? And they were arming themselves with automatic weapons and they were shooting each other.
Oh,
okay, now that I describe it out loud, that's actually really horrific and stuff. But, like, it's so crazy. Like, who makes this stuff up? Like, for kids. Kids shouldn't even be exposed to that sort of violence, you know?
I mean, I watched a video.
No one should be
I
exposed
watched
to
a
violence.
video of, like, characters like Spider-Man and stuff burying Elsa alive. Do you even see that in horror movies?
Listen.
And Elsa, that is so traumatic.
If Logan Paul can laugh at traumatic things, so can I. Listen, I think you told me about a video where Peppa Pig was abusing George.
Yes.
That's horrible.
That is the worst. When you're
that's horrible.
When you're using well-known and well thought out popular TV characters into animations, and you're using them in bizarre plots and storylines.
Yeah.
And for example, I watched a video of a creator using Peppa Pig, and she was abusing George.
What on earth?
She was like vomiting all over him and kicking him outside, and poor George was just crying. Like,
well, to be fair, George is always crying. But yes, that is very traumatic.
Yeah, and Peppa abusing George. Like, this is what kids are watching.
I know, and what if someone has, like, a younger sibling and they come across that? It's this manipulation, like you said, of prevalent, like, really well thought out characters. Kids are not going to know, oh, someone else made this. This isn't, like, the TV network making this. I came across this video where the Powerpuff Girls died. So, what if a kid comes across that and they get disturbed and they think the Powerpuff Girls died because some freak decided to make a really bad animation of it?
Hey, what about copyright laws? Where are they?
How
are they allowed to?
I think that falls under parody. Like, transformative content falls under parody, so I think it's fine. But isn't it kind of weird that they're profiting?
Yes.
But
the thing is, why would, like, Disney wouldn't mind? I don't think so, because it's advertising. They're buying their toys, not the creators' toys.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so
wow.
I get why. I understand why they're not going, hey, this is our character. We don't want Peppa vomiting all over George. Because
exactly,
yeah, it's it's revenue for them, and they don't care what form it comes in.
That kind of, you're right. That kind of does blur the lines between when does it become transformative content to using something that's really well known and using it to make money.
Yeah,
it's a very blurred line. I think it falls all under parody though, to be honest, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be able to use someone's song in a video.
The Powerpuff Girls died and they turned into Sugar, Spice, and everything nice. Isn't that so sad? But, like, shouldn't you like, you can expose your kids to death, but, like, expose your kids to death. That's what this came out wrong.
Like, exposing kids to serious issues.
The concept of death.
Yeah, but you need to tread lightly.
Yeah, I know, not through a Powerpuffs video.
And it needs to be done properly.
I'm pretty sure there are plenty of books that deal with
death is natural. Like a lot of kids' books deal with that kind of stuff, the concept of death, but it's done with care, it's done properly.
And that's something that's really important to touch on, because when you expose kids to these type of serious issues and they're not done right, you could traumatize them.
Yeah, it could be catastrophic for their coping skills. And the way in which they understand, like, empathy and deciphering their feelings.
That's really interesting.
You might be sitting there going, oh, this isn't, like, a huge issue, but it is. It is for their emotional and mental development. How do I put this? It's extremely important that they see the proper way of dealing with an emotion.
Yeah.
so that when that emotion arises, they can cope with it properly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you need to be there for your kids. Wow, that was deep.
Yes. And even if you don't have kids, you know someone who has a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're a psychopath or a sociopath who really doesn't care about the world. Like, it's a huge issue. And if we're raising kids who watch like abuse videos at such a young age, and it is abuse. I don't care if it's Peppa and she's wearing a red dress.
Yeah.
It's showing abuse.
It is
violence.
abuse.
Yeah. Why is it masked as a kid's video? It's not. It shouldn't be classified as such.
Wow, that was really interesting. That's a really good way to put it. You're right. They do mask it as children's content, and obviously there are some like sadistic people out there who want to see kids sad, unfortunately, and sort of ruin the world in that way. And they know kids are gonna keep on clicking and clicking because they rewatch things a billion times.
You've got to be damaged severely to think that these videos are not doing extreme damage, that they're not destructive to the fabric of our society, because these kids will grow up and they will eventually end up in a forest filming something that they shouldn't. Okay, but we're not going to go there. Do we really need more kids to be doing that?
Logan Paul episode coming soon. But like you were saying, like I said, that video of Elsa and Spider-Man or whatever with literal rifles were on Earth had millions of views.
Millions of people saw this, and
thousands upon thousands. Sorry, that's a ton of emotion.
And the funny thing is, regulation policies, the onus is on the viewer. Yet millions of people saw this, and it was still up there.
Wow.
Yeah. So the onus is on the viewer. The viewer's not taking action. YouTube's not taking action.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
I know you're really passionate about that. We'll get to that. But we have one more type of sort of video, and these are, we kind of touched on this already.
Yeah.
The animations, the daddy fingers, the multitude of daddy finger videos.
Where do these videos come from?
I saw a Hitler daddy finger video.
Some of them are just, I can't even go there. It is embarrassing to think we have humans on this earth that are willing to do anything for money and views. Literally anything, even if it means traumatizing and destroying the world of kids. If that makes sense.
I watched this TED Talk by this great guy. I'll leave the link to it down below because it's a really great video to watch. But basically, he showed that it was like, I think 4 or 5 clicks away, where it went from a regular daddy finger video to this really disturbing daddy finger video, the Hitler one.
Yeah. And
really some sadistic
And
stuff.
the baby shark ones I like that too. There's
really?
Some really weird baby shark ones.
No way.
No, I haven't seen a Hitler baby shark.
Let's call daddy shark is like it's like a fad. The question we have, it kind of like got big out of nowhere. What is the next addiction?
Yeah, what's coming next? What is the next addiction? And will it be appropriate? We're lucky we're stuck with baby shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at least even though it does my head in and it drills, my brain into 1,000 pieces, it's catchy, the kids dance, they get to move around to it, whatever. But how do we know?
And it teaches you about the family
what the next viral thing is.
Yeah.
Is appropriate. How do we know that? We don't know what goes viral. It's so unpredictable and uncertain.
How do we not know that that merch is going to be the next daddy shark? How do we not know that?
And this running theme on like kids content on YouTube is just, it's growing and it's reoccurring, and it's come to a point where it's actually concerning.
Yeah. And the unpredictability factor that we were talking about, that's the thing. We don't know what's going to be viral next. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't know.
So I feel like we've done a lot of complaining, which is a good thing. Not all complaining is bad. And now I think it's important to look at YouTube's regulation policies that involve minors. There's an actual segment, we're taking all this information out from the YouTube, I think it's the FAQ website.
Yeah.
Whatever. So this is what YouTube is saying. So we've talked a lot of stuff. Now let's see what YouTube has to say.
So should YouTube be regulated? Well, apparently not. According to I think I read an interview with Robert Kinzel.
Who's that?
I think he's responsible for business functions like content, sales, and access on all that boring yet important stuff.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Oh, so he's more important than Susan Wojcicki, whatever her name is.
I think he is, yes, because he's basically in charge of hiring people to look at the content.
That's a lot.
And who accesses these videos and things like that. So I think
content,
he's a really important
sales, and access.
Yes.
That's a lot.
And I don't know the man personally, so I'm not going to bash him. We're not here to bash anyone.
Ugh, then I'm leaving.
And apparently he said that YouTube does not need to be regulated because and the reason is he said it's different, which is not a good enough reason.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's different because they don't want to be involved like in editorial stuff, and they basically just distribute content. I think that's a complete cop-out.
So basically what he's saying is we provide the platform. Whatever goes on, we're not responsible.
Yes, we're not responsible because we want the creators to have their freedom.
That is so interesting.
And we don't want to be part of their editorial process, apparently.
That's so interesting you say that. I tell you why. Because YouTube seems to be the place where they crack under media pressure so quickly.
Yes.
Where an ad where, like, for example, if there's a Coca-Cola ad on something that's, like, really racist or something like that, people who watch YouTube know that Coca-Cola don't endorse racists. That just happens to be the ad on that video. But you've seen before that YouTube sort of cracks under media pressure. And don't you find it interesting that usually media corporations go after specific YouTubers? And obviously, most people who watch kids' content is kids. Yeah. Therefore, kids can't raise these concerns because, well, they're kids.
Yeah, and if no one's hired to monitor these... Okay, let's be fair. So after the Logan Paul catastrophe...
The fact that we've mentioned him 100 times and this isn't the Logan Paul episode.
Yeah, so he needs an episode.
It's a good reference though.
Yeah, because everyone knows what happened. So that's why we're using him as a reference. Logan Paul, we're not coming after you.
He has his own podcast. It's called Impulsive.
What?
That's a good podcast name.
Who gave... Logan Paul has it... What does he speak about?
He interviewed Jacob
Paul
Sartorius.
Can speak? I mean,
what?
I mean, can speak to an audience about a certain issue and not just like yell at the camera.
Apparently he wants to make things a bit more adult. But he got like Jacob Sartorius on the show. We're getting off track. This is a different episode. I'm sorry.
So again, after the Logan Paul catastrophe, we all know what happened. We're not going to go there. Apparently, more people were hired to monitor videos. Nice move, YouTube. So you hired more people to watch Logan Paul so they can send him a card saying, "Hey, people are angry. Tone it down a little." They go on to say that the site's community standards are the guidelines. If YouTube itself doesn't respect its own guidelines, who will? If YouTube is willing to put Logan Paul back on...
Finger snaps.
I mean, why have you hired these people? Even if they find these people, they're still going to be on there. What is the point? You're just wasting money. Send the money my way. Like, what is wrong with you? Maybe they're just saying that we hire people to keep us
if you look at the
happy.
legal...
We're not happy.
If you look at like YouTube, it's sort of like the legal system. My legal studies teacher is going to be so impressed. But YouTube is reactive, not proactive.
Yes.
They fix the problem after it comes out. For example, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, whatever. I'm sorry that I keep bringing them up, but like, what else am I going to say? It's only now that Logan Paul is being suppressed. After the giant catastrophe of what happened, that video was on trending.
I know.
Kids actually watched that.
I know. I came across that video.
You did? By yourself?
Yes.
Oh my god.
That's just scary.
So, back to the YouTube FAQ, they say that the onus is basically on the viewer because they say that the viewer reports and flags. And is this viable considering the fact that viewers are underage and do not understand what is actually appropriate and what isn't? I already said this, but like, how a kid doesn't know how to report a video and a kid doesn't know what's bad so they can report it. Do you get what I mean?
And I've seen kids as young as like 2 and 1. Like I've seen them in the supermarket in trolleys. I know you exist. I've seen you at Woolies.
Yeah.
Okay, don't pretend that it's not an issue. And you know, every time I walk past you know, a parent. Look, I understand parenting is hard.
Oh, being a parent is so hard.
It's so
I say
tough.
as I have 0 children, but like
it is so tough, and I will slap anyone who ever criticizes a parent. You do not know what that parent goes through. You don't know their life.
Let's make it clear.
Blah, blah,
The
blah.
average parent. We're not talking about the daddy
Yes.
05s of the world. We're talking about the average
But
parent.
I know, I've seen it myself. I've seen it at Woolies. Yes, I shop there. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen it at Woolies. I've seen it at Aldi. There's a little kid sitting in a trolley with their parents' phone and daddy fingers on, or
Yeah.
Baby Shark, or something creepy, or that Russian. I hear that. What is that Russian thing?
What Russian thing?
The Mushka thing. Everyone's watching it. There's a Russian cartoon. I hear it everywhere.
So our kids are going to be learning Russian now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's Mushka and the Bear or something like that.
Oh, Masha and the bear.
Yes. I don't know where Mushka came from.
Yeah.
So you know Marsha and the Bear, you have no kids.
Yeah.
You know, our kids are
When you
watching,
say it that way.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for it. Let's learn Russian. But like it's come so far to where they're watching cartoons
That they don't even understand.
They don't even know what's going
Yeah.
on.
This is not an attack on Russian cartoon. We're just saying, like, you would want your kid to watch something in a language that you want them to learn so they can socialize, like, learn to socialize. Do you know what I mean?
And understand what they're actually watching, because cartoons can be helpful.
This is also something that I want to talk about. Like, at the end of the day, like, what do parents do? Like, what do they do? I mean, like, how do they solve this problem?
That's the thing.
That's what I'm asking. Like,
They
what can
really
the parent
solve,
do?
You can't
That-
really solve this problem. If YouTube is going, the onus is on you. Everyone
Yeah.
needs to work together.
YouTube isn't
Oh.
taking responsibility. That's what
Can we talk about the like age restriction thing as well? Like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
YouTube's policy on age restrictions?
Age-
We're talking about like kiddies here and like 2-year-olds.
Okay, so age restriction on sexual content, basically. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. So what is their policy?
Okay, so I think the general policy is you can pick for a video to be age restricted.
So the creator.
Yeah,
is responsible
and
for that?
but if it gets flagged enough, it will get age restricted. However, if, like I said, there are kids coming across this and they don't flag it, I don't think it will get age restricted. Basically,
Okay, so because there's lots of like sexual content on videos targeted at kids.
and I tell you what's interesting, even when you watch TV, like it can be 1 a.m. and they will still say like this is rated M for like mature audiences, like do not watch if you have a weak stomach. Like, do you get what I'm
Yes, but
saying?
you still have that warning. YouTube doesn't have that. They don't have the disclaimer.
Yeah, like Jake Paul has said in interviews multiple times that his audience is very young, 11 to 12 years old. Like I said, there's going to be a Paul episode coming in the future. But that's just like a good example of he knows his audience is young. He targets kids. And look at his thumbnails.
So, some videos are that they are so sexual in content. The images.
America Castell. Sorry, that's stuck in my head.
No 2-year-old needs to see your ass.
I saw Jake Paul and
And I'm
Erica Costello.
exaggerating. Well, what is the age group for
Jake
who
Paul.
accesses his videos? I don't know.
No,
I
for
know
real.
they're kids,
He's
but
literally
what is-
said in interviews, oh, like really young. Like I think he said younger than 10 to like 16.
So you know, I don't think an 8-year-old should be watching Jake Paul make out.
I saw Jake Paul and Erica Costello make out on a table for like 30 seconds. I couldn't watch it. Like my eyes, I couldn't watch it. It was too much
If I saw
time.
that as an 8-year-old, I'd be traumatized. Like I'm traumatized now as an adult. If I saw someone all over someone else, I'd be like, seriously?
Oh, that is
Like,
weird. Especially
I'm okay
kids.
with the affection in public, like holding hands. Oh, how cute! But when you're all over each other, like that's just. I just think it's a bit disturbing.
Yeah.
Like nobody needs to see that unless you're a creep and you love watching that in public.
And
Okay.
we'll talk about a later episode this idea of Greg Paul making out with the same girl that Jake Paul just made out
Oh,
with.
I heard about that. That is so messed up.
That
That is so creepy. If that was my father, I'd disown him. Can you do that? Can you disown your own parents?
Yeah, isn't there like a legal term that they use when you like take your parents to court? And you like
Divorce your
disown them?
parents.
Oh yeah, is that what it's called?
No.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
what
like
it's
it is sort of like a divorcing your parents. It's called a certain word, but anyways,
Yeah, like if my father did that, I'd be so creeped out.
if you're okay,
Well, let's not go there.
yeah, so like I said, there are warnings for adults, and even if let's be honest, even if there was a warning for kids, they're kids. They're sort of stupid. To be honest, if you told the kids, don't watch this,
they will watch it.
They will go watch it. If you told a kid, there's this kid called Jake Paul, there's this person called Minecraft YouTube Unboxer 123, and he's really creepy.
I don't want you to go on that.
Yeah, do not go on that. Don't click on it.
I guarantee they will go on it as soon as you leave the room.
They will find a way.
Yeah, like they're kids. You cannot blame the kids. Okay, you cannot go, oh, you know, they shouldn't have watched that, or...
How can you blame a kid for anything? Even in legal aspects. Like, a kid can murder someone, and legally, they're not at fault because they're kids.
Yes.
In a legal aspect.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think, I know, like, my attention span, what do you think of, like, paid product placements and, like, endorsements?
Okay, so, are you ready for the kicker? This is on YouTube's website. If you're advertising to kids and you have, like, a sponsorship, you check a box in advanced setting. Settings. Sorry, I had to clear all that.
You check a box in advanced settings.
Mm-hmm. And a little thing comes up called paid promotion. Can kids even pronounce the word promotion?
I don't even know that exists. Do 8-year-olds actually pay attention to that?
I don't pay attention to that.
But, there's a promotion in here. You know, I should be wary. That's just insane.
Oh my God, imagine if your kid was like that, if your kid was that self-aware. They'll be like a genius.
Maybe that should be our goal.
Make kids super smart, super intelligent.
No, make kids aware, make parents aware.
Okay,
if parents are aware, then their kids can be aware too.
That's actually something really important that we have not touched on. How do you approach this idea to your children? Obviously, there are kids who are super young where they don't even understand when you talk to them normally. But should you tell children, hey, listen, there's this website, YouTube, there's some weird stuff going on. Like, how do you bring... I don't have kids, so I don't know. Like, how do you bring that up to a kid? Like, watch out,
I think
child.
It's about educating your kids. Like, educating them on advertisements and how they work. I think you do that in high school, don't you?
What do you mean?
Haven't your teachers taught you about ads and Photoshop? And
yeah.
Nothing is what it seems, people.
Yeah.
Okay, should we be doing that at a younger age, since kids are exposed to everything at a younger age now? Like, primary kids have their own iPads, their own phones, and yeah, they should know these stuff.
Yeah, and I think especially now more than ever you should educate your kids, because like I said, when you watch something on TV, it's either like a cartoon or a character. Like, let's just take Lazy Town for example. It's a fake world with puppet people and stuff like that. But when your kid clicks on YouTube, they see, oh, this is a kid just like me. This is someone with parents just like me. Like, their life is very similar to mine. And so when they see that sort of world that's so similar to theirs, and they might come across like a Daddy 05 video or something really disturbing, it's going to have like really bad ramifications for them in their actual life. And so you need to tell kids that, you know, what you're watching for the most part isn't real.
Yes, it's not real. Like, no kid will sit for an hour straight.
But it's really not a good representation to have on the platform, you know, for fellow kids.
I can't imagine like a kid wanting to play for hours on end and like filming that, and
it's sort of disheartening sort of talking about this, like just sort of wrapping up, that because YouTube doesn't want to sort of take responsibility and stuff like that, that you're sort of left with a really big task of regulating something that isn't regulated. Do you get what I mean?
And, you know, do you think that's fair? Do you think it's fair that, because we do live in a digital age, I mean, unless you live under a rock, you're going to come across technology.
Yeah. Like, kids have iPads, like at school, it's normal. I said, it's not bad.
Innovation is good. Technology
it is good.
Anything that makes your life easier, I reckon, is a plus, okay? Anything that makes your lifestyle and
like at school they have iPads and stuff, like, but they have like educational things on there. Do you get what I mean?
Yes. So we're not against that, but it's not fair for the owners to be on the viewer, which in this case is not actually the viewer because they're kids, it's actually their parents. So that's just a huge task, because look, parents are not around all the time. Kids have iPads that they can access, you know, during recess and lunch. They have phones. You can't, unless your kid is under a rock and under constant surveillance. Yeah. That's just not fair to say, you know, it's a parent's job.
Yeah.
It's not fair or feasible.
Yeah, and you have to basically start young. because when they get older, it's going to be inevitable where they're going to be a teenager and they're going to want to access stuff without you on their back. Like, don't watch this, don't watch that. They're going to come into their own and be their own person. And so from a young age, you need to, like, teach them these sort of things. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And, yeah, after all of this, I still feel like I have a lot of unanswered questions. What about you?
Yeah, same here. But, you know, it is a huge issue and, you know...
We're scraping the surface.
Yeah, we're just at the tip of the iceberg. There's just so much more that we can delve into. I think... You know, we need to leave it for another episode.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? It sounds like we do need another episode.
We'll
so look forward to that, I guess.
Yeah. We thought it was important to bring this to everyone's attention.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, and especially parents with kids, take steps. I know it sounds like a huge task, but YouTube won't do it.
And so until YouTube sort of takes that responsibility...
Yeah, we kind of know that they really don't have kids' best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay. So that wraps up a really grueling... Is grueling a good word for this?
I would say so.
A really grueling episode. We just want to say thank you so much for watching. Imagine no one is up to this part. Like, no one listened enough to even get up to this part.
Yeah, look, if you made it to the end without dying or sleeping, please leave a comment.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you so much. This is obviously our first episode. We're very new to the podcast world. So thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to our ramblings.
Yeah, this is me, Dishwashing Liquid, signing off.
And this is Nora. Bye.
Okay, goodbye. Oh, like and subscribe. Buy that merch. Buy that merch. Buy that merch.